Birds of Prey number 8, written by Dwayne Swazinski, art by Jesus Saiz. Last issue, it was whatever. Who cares? I was not happy with last issue. This issue is, as far as I can tell, just kind of like a middle issue. A little just, okay, let's just tell a little bit of a story that's going to set stuff up down the road. And we open up in 3 days ago. It is a hotel in Gotham. There is a man dead inside. And there's a guy who has put together the scene better than the cops there, and his name, or at least what he refers to himself, is Ganjemi. And he says, all right, here's the thing. This guy, he's lying with his head completely caved in this hotel floor. 1, it was shattered by some mysterious unknown object. 2, his teeth were blasted into fragments. His fingerprints came up unconclusive, but when his fingerprints came up, they were labeled as one of our guys, so that's important. And then 3, the only person who entered and exited the room was a blonde woman. And then people reported hearing an agonizing scream along with what felt like an earthquake. So put all 3 together, and apparently Dinah Lance used her canary cry to shatter this man's skull. And she's out there killing again because she's such a murderer. So then we cut to what I assume is the same room now, where Batgirl, Katana, and Black Canary are all fighting this team of, I can only describe them as Z-list villains. And there's a guy who's a hologram, who I think his name is Infiltrator, or maybe that's the name of the team. Regardless, he's basically just taunting them, being like, oh, your move, Black Canary. I have you surrounded. And the whole room's on fire, if I didn't mention. And we see the team itself. So, first things first, we have a man named Flesh, who doesn't have powers, but he's coated with something that makes him impervious to swords and bullets. So he's like mostly naked. Okay? Then we get Napalm, who's just like he's a guy who's got like flamethrowers, and he's really, really dead set on burning Poison Ivy, who doesn't happen to be present today. So he's kind of sad about that. Like, legitimately sad. Quote, I mean, that's why I'm here, isn't it? What, I want to burn her. I really do. So then we've got, I don't even know the name of this guy. I think he's just called Head. His name is literally Head. He's got a helmet on that pumps him full of chemicals that make him impervious to being knocked out. Okay. And then, as far as I can tell, there's just some random dude in a suit here. Like, I think he might be with the cops or something, but he doesn't have a name. He's just a dude in, like, riot gear. So that's a thing. Regardless, the team it's just one big fight scene, and everyone, as they're getting their matchups here, Katana's with Flesh, Batgirl's with Head, and Napalm's just kind of emo standing in the corner, constantly asking for the hologram guy, like, are you sure that I'm useful? Because I sure don't feel useful. And he's like, dude, you are crucial to this operation. Now, please do something. So Black Canary, she sees that all of her friends are being knocked out. And she's like, look, if you're after me, because for some reason they are, if you're after me, I'll go quietly, I'll go peacefully, please just leave my friends alone. And they slap on a vocal inhibitor around her, which makes it impossible for her to do her scream or barely even breathe, honestly. And then they say how we really appreciate you cooperating. The boys in South Dakota are looking forward to meeting you. And then we cut to South Dakota, where Starling is, and she breaks into what appears to be just this random house. But as she goes downstairs, there's this giant lab, and she's planning on breaking into the computer system, but before she can, it looks like Genjemi has a gun to the back of her head and says, like, hey, it's Starling, isn't it? So then cut back to the fight, and they're trying to take Black Canary in a bit, like, more forcefully, but then, you know, the tides turn, and the team starts being able to fight back against the team of villains, and Black Canary's like, all my friends, they're risking their lives for me. They believe in me. Because, again, somehow this all tracks back to her having killed somebody in the past. So, whatever. But they're doing that thing. And then we cut back over to the South Dakota home. And Starling and this guy are just talking now because she managed to get a knife out near his dick. So that's reason enough for him to put away the gun. And she also puts away the knife at the same time, so I really don't. But anyway, they just start talking, and it's just like, okay, here's the thing. Black Canary was a spy. And Starling's like, what? No, she wasn't. She's my best friend or whatever. And she's like, yeah, okay, here's the evidence. And it's a victim of Black Canary that she passes over the file to. Then we cut over to the fight again, and once again, they get the upper hand and start taking these guys out. And Napalm is just the most incompetent guy, but is played for laughs the whole time. So Katana gets the drop on him and then throws him down an elevator shaft. And as he crashes down at the bottom, causes a huge explosion. The hotel room is basically rocked, and the birds of prey manage to escape. And in the final moments, Batgirl gets the vocal inhibitor off of Black Canary, and they're like, okay, we need to get going. He's like, wait, Black Canary says. Wait, before you do, I have to tell you, if you're going to be fighting for me, it's true. I killed someone. I killed my own husband. And that's also what the file says, is that his name was Kurt Lance, and she killed her husband 3 years ago, and she's very sad about it. You know, I opened this up by saying last issue didn't really matter, and the fact is it didn't, because I don't think any of that filtered into this. This is just completely disjointed. And spoiler, next issue is going to be the tie-in for Night of the Owls. And I read a little bit of that, just a tiny little bit, and it doesn't tie into this either. So all that's being set up here is that Black Canary did actually kill someone, and it was actually her husband. Or at least she thinks it, and she admits to it. In that regard, that's fine. I think that's moving the story in an interesting direction of like redemption and whatever, and making amends for it, as long as they don't make it stupid. Unfortunately, I've really lost a lot of faith in this book in terms of actually following through on the plots that you set up. So, not exactly super happy. Yeah, you know what? The last issue was Katana saying that the main villain wasn't actually dead. And like that was the cliffhanger, and we're just done with that. We're just not doing whatever. All right. This is a on its own, it probably deserves to be higher, but I'm giving it a 6, and that's mainly because I've been let down so often before with this book that I just don't really trust it. So yeah, it's a 6, and we'll see what happens next month in the Night of the Owls crossover.